I gotta say right now, the first episode of The Ancient Magus' Bride was probably the best first episode I have seen from Fall of Anime 2017 thus far. It was quality. It was 100% quality. And on my second rewatch of the episode, it dawned on me why I really like this anime, why I like the first episode so much. It's not the fact that has the genres that I truly love. It's not the fact that it, just has something that's very compelling with the characters. It's the fact that when I was watching it, for some reason, I was getting a Studio Ghibli vibe from watching this. I don't know if it was just me. I don't know if I'm the only one out there that got this vibe, but when I was watching the episode, there was just something in the back of my head. I'm like, this reminds me of something. I'm getting that similar feeling I get when I watch something, and I couldn't, pin it down when I first watched it. Watched it a second time, and I'm like, that's what it is. It's Studio Ghibli. That's what I'm thinking of when I was watching this episode. I'm like, the entire tone of it, the art, animation, the characters, the way the story is presented, just everything about it reminded me of Studio Ghibli. I know it's not made by them, but just the way it was done, it felt like it. And I'm like, the tone of it feels like something they would do. And I'm like, this is probably why I enjoy it so much. I mean, it was a really good episode, solid episode all around. Everything was good, but just there was just something that was drawing me in that I really loved. And I believe, if I look at, the deep factor of this, I believe it's because I got that Studio Ghibli vibe from this first episode. Anyways, though, what is it about? What is The Ancient Magus' Bride about? Well, it is a supernatural romance series. Now, I know automatically many might say, it's not for me, because romance, supernatural, it's stuff we see quite often. And I understand that, and I know not everybody out there likes romance. I know, I'm a little bit biased towards the genre. I admit that. I will be first to admit that, not even gonna lie. However, even though it's a genre that's oversaturated, and we see constant stuff like this every single season, not gonna lie, and it can get very repetitive and dull, and the same thing, use the same cliches over and over again, and it just gets very boring, and, I can agree with that. I can 100% agree with that completely. However, the first episode of The Ancient Magus' Bride is not like a typical supernatural romance. Let me give the context of the summary for you to understand. So basically, you have our main female character, Chise. I think that's how you pronounce her name. She is someone that reminds me a lot of, Yona, actually, from Akatsuki no Yona, her design and all that, besides the eye bag she has. But anyways, she is a character that clearly from her introduction, she has, lost all hope. She is someone that has hit rock bottom. She really has no happiness. She has experienced so much misfortune that she no longer can really put on a smile whatsoever. And if you look at the context of the episode, she actually willingly threw herself into slavery just to be able to have someplace she could call home, for she could be wanted. That just goes to show what type of life she's been through, to willingly put herself in that situation for she could at least have something she can call a home. That's messed up. It's on a whole new level of messed up. So once again, just to kind of go down and just, a quick explanation, Chise had a horrible life, misfortune, nobody wanted her, family didn't want her, she basically was shipped off into an orphanage, going place by place, relative by relative. Eventually she just had nowhere to go, no one cared about her, and so she decided to just, sell herself basically, and, go into slavery. That's basically it, and that's where, the episode starts off. And so if that's not a dark beginning to a story, I don't know what is. It's very dark and unsettling, but it just shows what type of character she is and what has led her to this. Now, despite all of this, we do see that there is supernatural elements in the series. You see these supernatural creatures like fairies, and you see mermaids, you see these supernatural plants, stuff like that. You just see fantasy and stuff. And so if you like that type of concept, you're going to find this very enjoyable because it gets a lot more interesting. Even though she's selling herself into slavery, apparently she's in this auction house to where other people, other creatures can actually come and get her as well. And so when, people are placing bids on her, you had this person come in, the main male character of the story, the main mage, he comes in and buys her. And it was a 5 million yen buy or something, or maybe pound. I don't know the exact number or what money or currency is being used, but basically it was a lot of money being offered for her. And as soon as he comes up to her, he's like, you're gonna be my apprentice. I'm making you my apprentice. And so she got the best possible thing to happen to her. She is now finding a home. She has a place to go to now, but also she won't be a slave, and she's going to become a mage. And that's kind of the concept of the story. You have it where Chise's trying to open up and learn how to be a mage, but also at the same time learning what it means to have a family, learning what it means to have someone actually care about you. And that's exactly the actual concept of the first episode. Now, if that's not interesting enough, I don't know what to say, because I feel like that is very different from the normal stuff we get from, you know, romance, anime, and stuff. It's very different. I mean, if you look at the episode, I personally have not seen something like this. I don't think I've really ever seen anything like this in, like, romance, anime, or in all that in recent years. I don't even think I've ever seen anything quite like this. So, it's very unique. It's definitely something that stands out to me when I was watching this episode. I was like, this is definitely a contender for one of the best series of Fall of Anime 2017, just for how the first episode was presented. Now, besides all of that, let's talk about, you know, the flair, the art, animation, music, stuff like that, character design. So, overall, it's by Wit Studios. So, Wit Studios, they're known for their great art and animation, so it's to be expected that they would have very high-quality art, animation, and backgrounds, and that's exactly what we got. There was just so much high quality in this episode. I mean, it wasn't perfect, it was not perfect, but nothing's perfect, obviously, but it was still very high quality. Throughout the entirety of the episode, it was high quality. The backgrounds just really stood out and all that, and it didn't make it to where the backgrounds were so good that it made the characters look bad. It just all around, everything about the show looked very beautiful. It looked like movie quality, in my personal opinion. It looked that good. Now, besides the art and animation, one of the big things that stood out to me was the fact that there was a really nice bit of silence throughout the episode. You know how most anime, especially romance anime, they tend to have like a lot of music thrown in there to, you know, kind of crank up the mood of a certain scene, which is very good. It's a good way to kind of make the scene more emotional. Music adds a lot, and especially if you have an anime or anything animated, add music, because it just makes it better. But at the same time, though, you need to have moderation. You need to know when you need to put in music, but also when to turn it off and let the characters just interact or, you know, look at something. In this case, it seemed like Wit Studios really knew what they were doing when it came to the music production of this series, because there was just a nice silence in certain scenes of the episode where you see Chise, she's just thinking or whatever, she's looking around, she's looking at her situation, you see her walking and all that, and there's just this silence, and you just hear these sound effects of either walking or, you know, her moving around or whatever. You just hear these little sounds, which just add a little bit more immersion to the episode, and I feel like that's what really made me enjoy this, and why I think I was reminded so much of, you know, Studio Ghibli, was probably because of the way these scenes were done. It reminded me of something that they would do when it comes to their movies. So, the sound effects were just probably one of the best things of the episode. I'm just going to be downright honest. It was one of the best things. The sound effects and the way they used them, it made the episode very enjoyable in my personal opinion. Now, character design-wise, in terms of designs of Chise, she's a very stereotypical design overall. Like I said, she reminds me of Yona in terms of her design, except she has eye bags and all that, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. It isn't. It's not a bad thing whatsoever, but her design is very stereotypical. However, the mage's design, he is really cool. I love that, like, face he has. I wonder if he actually is human under there. I mean, I know it's established that he's not human, but I mean, I wonder if he has, you know, a human structure under his face. Like, I wonder if that's a mask and all that, or if that really is his face. I'm very curious about that, if we'll ever see, like, a reveal or something, if he has, like, a human face under that skeleton mask. Regardless, though, it was a very good first episode. It's a must-watch. It's definitely a must-watch from this anime season. Just check it out and see it for yourself. Now, before I end this video, I do want to do a couple of clarifications. Now, there is 3 OVA episodes out to my understanding. Apparently, they're on Crunchyroll, and I have not watched them. I have been told on Twitter that you don't necessarily need to watch them, but if you want to understand Chise's character more, you need to watch them. And what I'm getting at is that apparently these 3 OVA episodes that came out like earlier this year and last year, they are like a prequel to the anime. Like, they kind of establish why Chise acts like she does. What she went through in her childhood, that's what the 3 episodes focus on. So if you want to see why she acts like she does at the beginning of the episode and throughout the entirety of this episode, then you need to watch the 3 OVAs. Now, personally, I have not watched them, so I cannot say if what I am saying is 100% true. I'm just going off of what I have been told. Now, regardless, though, I do want to watch them to see for myself, because I have been told by many that they apparently are a prequel. So I do want to see where that takes me and how I can understand Chise's character a little bit more and just appreciate the series even more than I already do. So I'll be watching the 3 episodes probably sometime today or early in the morning tomorrow. It's just I need to get the other videos out today. But I'm just letting you guys know, if you have not watched the 3 OVA episodes and you really like what you saw with this first episode, then go check out the 3 OVAs, because they're pretty good for what I'm told. They're even probably better than the first episode, probably because they are OVAs and they had a lot more time to focus and work on them, so the quality of them are probably going to look really good. So just wanted to state that if you were completely unaware. So I want to end that here. If you like my video, please leave a like. If you like the series or you hate the series, leave a comment down below and let me know how you feel about it. Did you enjoy it? Did you hate it? And if you enjoy my content, please subscribe. And if you want to support me for I can continue to focus on YouTube, please go into the description and support me on Patreon. It helps me out a lot. And so with that, you all have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.